So the last thing I want to talk about here is how all these things play into our age of information in terms of what exactly happens online, what happens with technology in regards to privacy. So one of the things that I talked about was the rewards and loyalty programs, such as at Kroger, and how those can impact what you purchase and those kind of things. That is enabled through a technology we created as computer scientists, which is data mining. And it's important to understand the ramifications of technology that we create or program for. Another example is body scanners, which are used for a variety of purposes, particularly in airport security checkpoints, which could be considered an invasion of privacy as well. We have RFID chips, which can be used for a variety of things, including both things that are invasive and non-invasive in terms of our privacy. And we also have mobile apps such as OnStar. We have Facebook, we have Google, we have Amazon, we have all these big company names that are all potentially doing questionable things with our data. We have medical records, which we hope and consider to be private. We have videos that we create, which we hope and consider to be private, right? These kind of things that we're talking about are becoming more and more complicated as the internet becomes more and more robust, as it becomes more and more integrated into our lives. And I know that most of you probably don't really know life without the internet, but it's important to remember that we still expect some level of privacy as individuals. It's not enough for us to say that, well, the internet is here, the internet exists, privacy is out the window. Because you absolutely still expect, every single person who says that still expects some level of privacy. And a really good example that I will always come back to with that is you want privacy in the bathroom space, right? In a bathroom space, you expect to be able to be alone there. There are things in our digital lives that we expect to remain private or remain only with those which we explicitly trust. A good example is our healthcare data. If we go to a facility that uses electronic healthcare records, these are called EHR, we expect those electronic records to stay with the people that we visited, just like a paper copy would, unless we grant them permission to transmit it to somewhere else. And this is really important because, again, how we program things impact how we handle privacy. And security is becoming more and more important in how that privacy gets handled. We don't want to never share or extend our zone of accessibility. Instead, we want to do that, but we want to do it with people that we trust, with organizations that we trust, and we want to have control over how that data is used and who exactly has access to it. So many of you might go, oh, I have nothing to hide in my healthcare records. It doesn't matter to me. There's other people who don't feel the same as you. There are people who may experience discrimination or at least some form of dislike over the idea of sharing their healthcare records with their employer, for example. I'm sure that many of you feel uncomfortable sharing your healthcare information with me, your instructor. If that information is private, it gives you a little bit more freedom in what you want to disclose and what you want to keep to yourself. Now, in the era of COVID, EHR and other types of healthcare records are maybe not the greatest example because we can talk about whether or not that information should be private in this kind of context. But again, that comes back to the question of ethics between the harms of privacy and the benefits of it, but we still expect it to exist. The question is, how do we do it in an ethical way, and how do we do it in a way that best benefits society and individuals? So make sure you go through the book and look at some of the examples they present. I did not go over any of them today except for briefly here and there. There's a lot of good uh, case studies in here and talking about them from a variety of perspectives. A really good one is the malls tracking shopper cell phones. Another a couple that I have posted online in the Ethics Prompt 2 resources includes Target using advertising toward a child in a home, a teenager. She was pregnant, and the system sent out ads for baby things such as diapers and other things, maybe like a car seat or something, to her home, and it kind of clued her family into what was happening before she was ready to tell them. It's important to understand how these things impact our day-to-day lives and what exactly we expect to be okay about this. So make sure you go through those examples in your book, and remember that privacy isn't a question of whether or not we want to have it, it's a matter of how we have it and what is considered ethical with its implementation.